Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Criterion Connection. I'm Wade.
And I'm Joe.
And I'd like to apologize ahead of time if I sound like I'm drunk. I'm not. My crown fell out, and I put like a load of cement in it, so I'm talking all weird. So, fair warning.
I mean, to me, you sound like a cartoon, like villain, like mega villain.
Yeah, haha. So yeah, today we are doing Paul Schrader's the long anticipated Mishima.
Life and Fortress.
Yeah. By Paul Schrader, who I saw a movie of his recently at a film festival called First Reformed. If I had to buy, rent, and skip that movie, I'd say skip. It wasn't good. Anyway, so this.
But he is a great writer. He did Taxi Driver and Raging Bull and Last Temptation of Christ.
Yes.
So.
Anyway, so this movie is about Yukio Mishima, who's a writer.
Yeah, he's a very prolific writer, poet in Japan.
Failed revolutionist.
He was also a nationalist. And he tried to stage a coup in 1970 to restore the empire and bring the emperor back in charge because he thought capitalism was taking away Japan's identity. And they do explore that a little bit in the movie.
In various portions.
Yeah, I originally thought that this was a documentary.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's a very stylized kind of drama that is biographical for Yukio Mishima. But not 100% factual. Probably
it's more like an anthology movie.
It's separated into 4 parts, and then you have this one thread of the last day of his life.
Well, it's separated into 3 parts.
It's 4.
Oh, I guess when he was a kid, I guess.
Beauty, art.
I know. I'm more talking about the stories.
Yeah, there's 4 of them.
There's 3.
I'm telling you, there's 4, man. It's 4 chapters.
There's the golden thing.
At the very
there's Kyoto's house, or Kyoko's house, I forget what it was, and the horses, raging horses. And that's it.
No, there's the 4th one. Yeah.
Did I zone out or something like that?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I did. Guess I zoned out. But anyway, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of fell asleep on this movie.
Oh yeah.
I kind of did. I'm not gonna lie. Cause it got to the point where they're doing they're doing like Raging Horses or whatever. I'm like, okay, this is chapter 3. It's gotta be almost over. An hour and a half left.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my god, this movie felt like it's already been 2 hours.
I can see where you feel that way.
And I'm gonna say it now. But I don't like the storytelling in this movie at all.
In my opinion, you have few segments of the actual last day of Mishima's life, in between stuff, and they're generally color portions.
Yeah, and he usually has something he's got like a mole on his head. That's all I know. That's the only way I know. Thank God
it was the older guy.
Yeah, the older guy.
And then they do adaptations of stories he had done in between, which kind of, some of them are autobiographical in a sense. But I can see where you're coming from. I mean, it's a 2-hour-long movie. So they take those intermittent parts of that final day, and then they have 20, 25-minute segments for the other stories.
And I prefer the stories more than the actual story.
Yeah, they were pretty cool.
It's just and then they cut the black and white.
Yeah, for the past.
But even though it was a year of the past, because he was still an old man, and you're like...
That was the last one. It starts off when he's a kid.
I know. And then there's one where he's dancing with a guy, and then... Yeah, and then that the story just jumbles up too much. And they're like, oh, I like this. I like the art and the set design of the stories. And then we go back to, oh, he's going to try doing a coup, and you're like... You can't really get engaged with a character if you keep cutting different places. Especially when you change actors at one point.
Yeah, well, they change it for the age. Because there's like 3 or
well,
4. There's 4 guys who play Mishima.
Yeah, and it's
at
just
different stages in his life.
It's confusing. Like, I can't relate to anyone. Just when you're relating to the guy that he had the stutter, once you relate to him, we're not going to talk about him ever again. We're going to talk about this Mishima, who is like kind of a playboy.
Well, he does come back at the very end.
I know. I'm just saying, like, he's like then he goes to a playboy, but it's at the end. I'm saying throughout the whole movie. You're like, okay, another Mishima with a kind of different attitude than the other one.
So you're saying they should have just done one of the stories instead of all the stories?
Or maybe have, I don't know, the actor grow his hair out. The original, the guy had the stutter. The original actor have him grow his hair out. Then he could play that character. I don't know, it just felt like...
Because the older guy they had playing Mishima on his last day...
That's fine.
He looks a lot like him.
That's fine. I was fine with the old man. I'm talking about, like, the stories. How, like, the looks of the Mishimas have changed to where it seems like... And especially from the first series to the second story, it's 2 different people. Mm-hmm. And the third story is 2 different people as well. It's like... You don't see, like, the change between the 2, I think. I mean... I know they're telling the story of his works. I understand that. But it just kind of makes you think, like, is this Mishima? Is this the same person? Especially the second story. Because he's not timid. Mm-hmm. He's very, like, I'm going to be workout. I'll give credit. I've never actually seen, like, Japanese gyms before.
Yeah.
In film.
Yeah,
and they work out intensely.
It's my first time seeing it too.
Yeah, I'm just like, wow, it's intense.
Of course, that also was probably back in, what, 50s, 60s?
Yeah.
So.
The best part of the movie is the set design.
I love
the set pieces.
I love a lot of the cinematography and a lot of those kind of, like, there were certain times where the set felt very, like, I think it's Lars von Trier's Dogville, where he got rid of, like, the set and just had, like, outlines on the floor. Like, there were points where it felt like that. They just kind of put a room in a black space. And, like, that's the only place where the story's happening. I thought stuff like that was really cool. I have a better feeling about this movie, I think. Like, I enjoyed it a lot. It was... kind of just kind of experimental in the way it told the story, and just kind of following him through works that he had done, and kind of, you know, trying to use the story to show where he was in his life at the time, and all the while having this last day as kind of the framework, which is kind of a very legendary incident that happened in Japan. I don't know, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah.
So buy, rent, or skip?
I'd buy it.
Okay. I'm leaning towards rent or skip.
Really?
What's saving it is those stories. The stories are great.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like making them as an entire movie, like they're all like stories interwoven into his life, I didn't see it. Because it felt like the characters the characters' motives are always changing. Like, the stuttering guy just wants to be accepted, right? And this one, I mean, I don't even know what he was trying to do. He was trying to get pecs. That's all he was trying to do, I guess.
Are you talking about the actor?
Like the character, like the motive of the character in the story.
No. Like the character that was the actor.
Yes.
The one that was very vain.
Yes.
And cared about his face and he wanted to build up his body.
Yes.
That one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the next one's like a really extreme, kind of like, oh, we're gonna do this to the government, nationalists and all stuff like that. It was totally different from that character too. It just felt like this would be a good like anthology series. And not a documentary, I guess I should say.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, the way I saw it was when we're dealing with the Golden Temple, like that's him in his adolescent phase trying to figure out who he is and you know, discovering things about his own sexuality and everything. And then the actor portion is kind of his vanity, his kind of self-destructive nature coming out especially when he meets the woman who cuts him up and beats him and eventually kills that character. And then that last part is just him feeling, being overcome with that idea of national pride and kind of going against the way everybody else wants to do things because he feels the right way to do it is a certain way, which leads into that final day.
I'll say that part, that last story was really ties into the actual story, I thought. Okay, now that you explain that, I'm starting to kind of warm up to it.
Yeah.
Okay, Rent it.
It to me, it's just kind of when you're dealing with writers and poets and stuff, a lot of times they throw themselves in there is their DNA all throughout it because they can't help it.
Yeah. So
it's just trying to find those ties, and I think I can see where you're coming from, where it's hard to pick up on. And you're just sitting here and you're like, these are just kind of weird stories. They're really cool stories alone.
It'd be great to it was they did a mini series.
Yeah,
every episode would be a story of his.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
I like that more than this movie, I think.
But I think Paul Schrader was trying to do something about this, prominent figure in Japanese history, especially in recent post World War II history, of his literature, showing that off, his stories, and then kind of putting that in context of how it kind of led him to where he ended up.
Yeah.
So that's just my opinion.
Okay, so you say bye. I now say Rent.
Okay.
I might have to see it in a second viewing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
So let us know what you think down below of Mishima. Am I completely wrong? Am I being too much of a snob or whatever? I don't know what to find.
I think it's the crown, man. I think it's your tooth that's bothering
Maybe
you.
I was in a grouchy mood last night because I was like, God damn, this thing ain't staying in. So let us know in the comment section below. Be sure to subscribe, hit that bell so you get every Criterion Connection episode. Next week's episode, we're doing Midnight Cowboy.
Yay!
Yippee-ki-yay.
Not that kind of cowboy.
Yeah. So yeah, let us know what you think in the comment section below. Any other movies you want us to do.
Yeah. How much do you like Paul Schrader? How much do you dislike Paul Schrader?
Yeah.
Whatever you want.
Let us know. Yeah. So until next time, we'll see you later.